Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. We thank Titan MRI and Meldon Law for being major sponsors of our event that we have every year at the golf course and also the podcast. We love those people. Coach Spurrier, I'm pretty sure is going to be here today. You never know. I mean, sometimes things happen. He gets busy. And then no show for Friday. We've got here's what's happening. We have to get out of the house because they're revarnishing all of our hardwood floors because they screwed up some. But it's no big deal. I would still hire these people. And if you want to call me, I'll give you their names. And they're doing it for free. So we got to get out of the house. And unless anybody has a luxury condo with a pool, we're going to go to another place that it's really nice. It's over in St. Augustine. So we're going to get out of town. We'll be back with another show. It'll be Wednesday show. By then we'll know who won the national championship in baseball. What a weekend it was. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Mine was tremendous. I can just tell you this. It was kind of emotional in a way in that my wife and daughter both went out of their way to find XL shirts for me. Now, that's a big deal for me. I've never worn anything but double XLs. I've always been heavier, and I'm losing weight and still trying to keep it going. But they bought XL shirts, and they fit, and they were as proud as anybody. They were like, we found the right shirts, and I wore them that night. We went and watched the Gator game at the Swamp, had a great time there. I'm gonna work on the Swamp to get them to be an advertiser. They need to be an advertiser. I've got a lot of people I need to work on. But happy Father's Day, though, for all the reasons. Being a father is the best thing in the world, other than being a mother. But I can't talk about being a mother. Haven't been one yet. Hoping not to ever be one. But being a father is the best. My daughters, Kelsey and Jennifer, I don't know what I'm so grounded because of them, and I'm not even grounded. So think about that. All right, let's get to our starting five. And again, we're looking for a sponsor here, and we're going to get one. I promise you. My plan is to offer the starting five to different businesses and say, look, I'll give you August. I'm asking you to go September, October, November, December. And so you get 5 months for the price of 4, and it's not that expensive. And your commercials will be up. We're reaching 30,000 people. It's great. It's a great advertising opportunity for you. And so we'll get that done. I promise you. Right now, we're just trying to get through June and July. And usually in June is when you start going, there's nothing to talk about. Not during this little break we had from, we did the last show Thursday, and the next show's Tuesday was when we tape them, and we're going to change all that up. But we're just trying to get shows up for you. But so much has happened, and I'll start off on the starting five with number 1, Florida baseball, 2 in Omaha, which is 2-0. You see, you get that? That's kind of I saw somebody use that. It was pretty funny. 2 in Omaha. So I've been there when it's 2 and through, and that's not fun. 2 in barbecue, whatever you want to call it. But to win those 2 games, I got nothing left. I literally on Monday was telling my wife, thank God the Gators don't play tonight. I can't take it anymore. It's too intense. And it's intense because they've made it intense. The first game was Friday, of course, where they hit those homers in the 9th inning and ended up winning the game on a sac fly by Luke Heyman. And then the other night was unbelievable intensity. Florida's now hit 6 homers. They've pitched really well. I thought Waldrop was great. Cade Fisher is, I think we made him the Gator of the weekend a couple of weeks ago, but he didn't get it this weekend, but he could have gotten it. That was to come in that situation was unbelievable. Ty Evans, who played, I think he had played 4 games since March 4th, gets stuck in the game on Friday, hits a huge homer, and then in game 2, hits a homer again to the opposite field. And you're like, and everybody's like, why isn't he playing? I go, well, he wasn't any good. He wasn't good. I'm not saying that negatively. I'm saying he just wasn't good enough to be out there in the outfield, to be playing every day. He wasn't an everyday player. He struggled to catch the ball early in the year, if you remember that. But he just, again, you've got to run the hot hand, and not just during the season, but as you get later in the season, you really got to go with the hot. Like Dale Thomas is a little bit of a hot hand right now, and they'll put him up there if they get a chance to pinch hit. Certainly, Sheekoffer has been pretty good, but at the same time, Ty Evans all of a sudden hits that home, and you go, okay. He also had a double or triple in that game. I can't remember what it was, but he did great. And then all you know is you end up with a guy you can count on, and hits a homer in this game. So unbelievable game on not week 1, but game 1 for the Gators. That was incredible. Number 2 on the starting 5, let me get to this. Sully was really close to having a 4th and dumb by not, and if those of you don't know 4th and dumb, Doug Dickey went for it from his own 29-yard line against Georgia. The momentum was going against them. They were up, and he called a good play, and his 6'2", 240-pound running back couldn't run over a 160-pound guy, and they called it 4th and dumb because from that point on, Georgia took over the game. And that would have been a 4th and dumb if Sully, because he didn't count his mound visits correctly, would have lost that game. However, he apologized afterwards to his team, and they said, "We're good. We're good, coach." Yeah, because you won. That's why you're good. Those things happen, though. Those things happen in games where you make, like, we all get mad at coaches who make strategic errors, but there are a lot of games where they make just administrative errors. For example, Dan Mullen. The year they lost to Georgia, the second year of him, they had all the wrong wristbands. All the wristbands, guys are looking at plays and they go, this play's not even a play we run. They had all the wrong wristbands and they never could get anything going offensively until the very end of the game when they got rid of them. That's an administrative error. But in the end, what I don't get, this is what I don't get. I do love that we are restricting the amount of visits you can take. Okay, they restrict it down to 6, and he did a 7th. But if you're going to do that, then why not have a situation where a guy hits a ball, you call it a home run, and then all the umpires get together for like 8 minutes, and then they go talk to the coach for 5 minutes, and then they review it. And I'm like, you're not making the game shorter. You're making them longer. Even with all these things that are, it's almost like they have put in all these great rules to make the game shorter. We all want it shorter. And then they've said, but we're still going to stretch it out. We're going to find a way to stretch it out. I just don't get it. But anyway, Florida won. That's all that matters. And again, Florida plays, as we're doing this podcast, we're taping it. Florida's opponent is not known because they're playing right now, I believe. Number 3, U.S. Open. We'll talk more with Coach Spurrier about this. Wyndham Clark winning. It was kind of boring. The Rory thing was depressing. I love Rory McIlroy. He's my favorite golfer now. It used to be Phil, but it's not anymore. It's Rory now. And then also, I rooted against Ricky Fowler way too much, because he got out to that big lead. And at the end, I felt really bad for him. My wife says, oh, well, he's only got $1 billion. Yeah, he's in every commercial. But that's not what it's going to be on his tombstone. It's not going to say farmer's rep, farmer's insurance rep, or, Puma rep. It's going to say never won a major. I hope he does. It feels like he's got his game going. That course was tough. I'll tell you more about the course a little bit later, but it was certainly interesting. Number 4 on our starting 5, Bob Huggins resigns. No big surprise there. They had no choice. He had already, the guy's losing it. We all know that, but everybody loves him because he's a great interview and he says outrageous things, but he kind of went over the top on, first of all, by saying some things he shouldn't have said, and then getting a DUI, and it was a bad DUI too. There's no such thing as a good DUI, but there is such thing as a really bad DUI. And when you're double the what you can blow, and you can't park your shredded, tired car anywhere, it's not good. Never a big Bob Huggins fan, so it doesn't bother me. I mean, it bothers me that a coach did it to himself. I mean, a guy who's a legendary coach, and I know there's a lot of people who love the guy. I've never really interacted with him, but it was certainly a big story. There's already talk, we're going to go get Jay Wright, and I think Jay Wright's done. I don't think Jay Wright is coming back to deal with NIL in Morgantown, West Virginia. I couldn't think of the name. Morgantown, West Virginia. I don't think he wants to do that. All right, and finally, number 5, I want to talk a little bit about recruiting, which I don't like to talk about because to me, recruiting is a major part of the game. And when you get good players, you don't get good players, whatever, it's part of the story, but in the end, it's how you perform. Some of these teams that are in Omaha, a lot of the players weren't highly recruited, but they developed. The guy Skeens was at Air Force. But on Saturday, I'm trying to think of this weekend was long. Saturday, everybody lost their minds because his quarterback, Austin Simmons, decommitted and went to Ole Miss. And then the great troller of our time, Lane Kiffin, put up Tom Petty songs. He goes, "We're just cruising around, man." And yeah, he's trying to get at Florida fans. And you know what? Billy Napier, you think it bothered him? No. He went out and signed 5 4-stars right after that, or got them to commit. But I will say this. I don't care about those guys either. I hope they all come here. I hope they're all great players. But none of them are enrolled. None of them have signed. Commits, that's why I don't get too excited about recruiting. But Napier did kind of shove it up the poop hole of Lane Kiffin and say, all right, we're just going to get really good players that are going to stuff your crappy quarterback. At least I'm paraphrasing that. I don't think he really said that. But Napier doing a good job. I was listening to a show today coming in, not Neuheisel and Chris Childers, and they were talking about stock up. Billy Napier, the class he's pulling in, it's number 2 ranked right now in one of those cottage industry things. So they're number 2 in the country. That's pretty good. That's what we were looking for. We're looking for a guy who can recruit. I know a lot of that recruiting happens right here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Speaking of him, we will bring him on here to talk about the U.S. Open, about Gator baseball, about recruiting, all that. You know it's going to be fun, which always is, here on another Duly Noted podcast, presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Another Duly Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Fight Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it. Okay, and welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios and Meldon Law. Also a sponsor of this legend right here. There's nobody more legendary than you in this city. Who's more
Billy
legendary?
Donovan. No, Billy's basketball though. But
he did win 2 national championships.
Yeah, I lived here all through playing in the NFL.
right.
I'd always come back in the off season to Gainesville. So I've lived here obviously longer than any place I've lived in my life. So I guess I'm a little bit more of a Gainesvillian than most of the coaches that come through here.
You need to talk Billy into building a restaurant right like next door or something.
No, he needs to build one up in Chicago when he wins the championship up there. Yeah, we got plenty of restaurants in Gainesville.
There's a great Harry Carey's up there. That's really good. But it's interesting. But
his son Brian works with us.
He does. In fact,
bartender, server. Yeah, he does.
Every time I come in here, if he's there, we talk forever. Yeah, it's great.
He's a good one.
All right. So, do you want to start talking about the baseball? Because I've got nothing left. I'm so glad they had 2 days off, because watching those games just about, and I don't know, you may have been able to get your blood pressure down and your heartbeat down because you coached in a million games like that.
Oh yeah, those are good wins. Hitting those home runs in the latter end of the game and so forth, and coming back and winning. And take a few days off, and hopefully we don't lose our momentum. I don't think we will, and get going. But I was talking to a good friend of mine, Jim Kimbrough, whose father-in-law was Mr. McKeithen. Name's still on the baseball stadium. It's on the field now. But anyway, I called him yesterday. I said, "You watching Tennessee and who'd they play? Wake Forest, was it?"
Yeah. Wake Forest. That was a good game.
I said, "Are we supposed to pull for Tennessee since they're in the SEC or not?" And he said, "I don't know." He said, "I just love watching because they're all such good games."
Yeah, every game's been like one.
And I said, "Yeah, you got to admit, in baseball, there's no opt-out dudes. There's none of them worried about how much money I'm going to make. They really compete." And if they strike out, they get disappointed. And, if they make a good hit, and this, that, and the other, they show emotion. So it is fun watching all these teams play. And it is such a fine line between winner and loser. Whereas in football, you can sort of usually see the dominant team most of the time, and the team that plays the best. But man, in baseball, almost any of these teams can win anytime.
Absolutely, and it was certainly interesting this weekend and what we had to deal with. And again, I don't know if you've ever had a situation like that. Obviously, you haven't, with where Sully got penalized for going out too many times to the mound. What was the worst penalty you ever got, or worst? I know you the one time. I'll never forget this. No. 99, you're playing FSU, and somebody throws a lime on the field. I think it was.
Orange, I think an orange or something.
An orange or something, and it came out of their section, and they penalized you guys, or they. Or they didn't.
Well-
They didn't call a timeout. That's what it was.
No, what happened, they threw the orange on the field, they thought it came from our fans, so we were letting we were trying to get the ball back.
Yeah.
And so the ref stepped in there and called timeout and penalized us, I think, but then they gave them the whole new clock.
Yeah.
40 seconds going, which I think they messed that up. But no, worst call, and I still say it's the worst call, at LSU in 97 when we got beat. We're down 7, and Jesse just hit a completion past midfield. Oh, there was 2 or 3 minutes left. And the referee on our sideline, he said I was standing with my foot on the field. Coach just can't stand on the field, which they do all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's never called. But he come back, penalized us, took about a 30-yard play against us, and that was the end of our threat. And that was a guy that had tried to stick it to us occasionally.
Right.
I think he's from Georgia, but since he didn't go to Florida, he gets to referee our games.
Right.
And, sometimes you can look at that stuff and say, man, why don't we just get Southwest Conference? All you guys that live over there, come over here and referee. And all you guys that played in the SEC turned into referees, you go referee somewhere else. But that would be too fair, I guess, to do that.
Well, and I think it's kind of funny because a lot of them, they don't, they can't let you, like, for example, Mike Moten is a really good referee, but he can't do the Florida games, but he does
He
the
did
spring
South
games.
Carolina games.
He did South Carolina games, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the play, because I know you complained about it after the game to me. In the 2000 Sugar Bowl, playing Miami.
Oh, yeah.
And
Gerard
Warren reaches up as
He had his shirt sleeve just like that.
as
That's
Ken
exactly how he had
Dorsey
it.
is throwing the ball, and they call it a personal foul penalty.
Yeah, roughing the
and it
passer.
changed the whole game.
He was falling, and he grabbed his shirt sleeve, and Dorsey threw it and sort of fell over him, And,
Yeah.
and here came the flag. And later I said, you're going to throw a roughing the passer because he grabbed his shirt sleeve as he was falling. He should have let go, Coach. He should have let go. And that was a 3rd and 15.
Yeah.
They threw incomplete. So they
I
got
think
first down.
you were only down like 6.
3.
at the point.
No, we're down 3.
3. Okay.
So they go and score and get up by 10 with 2 minutes
Yeah.
left. So that was a big penalty in the game, but there's nothing you can do about it. What do you call it?
I always say you got to play around officials. You do. I mean, you can complain about it, but
Yeah.
the bottom line is they still have the ultimate judgment,
Yeah.
or whether they're right or wrong.
And that was a neutral bunch.
Yeah.
So anyway, they also Rashay Caldwell called a pass right before halftime and gave it the old first down signal, and they called that excessive celebration too.
Now you can do a throat slash. I mean,
Oh,
have you
yeah,
seen
you
it?
can do most anything, but well, I don't know if you can do that, but just
No, they did it at Tennessee
just first
this
down.
year.
Yeah.
The guy did a gator chomp and a throat slash, and they didn't. And the referee's looking right at him.
is
And
that
he didn't call anything. I'm like,
well, they used to call that.
just have a set of. I mean, this is what drives me crazy. Have a set of rules and administer them. That's it. But anyway, we don't want to get too.
Yeah,
much
that's
into
part
that.
of the game. Hopefully, you get
It
a
is
good-
part of the
good
game.
Group. Yeah.
But certainly, what Kevin's been able to do with his team and to win these games, and now they're. I mean, as we're talking now, they're going to find out who they play because those two teams are playing. But it certainly has been a fun team to watch.
Oh yeah, and we're hot right now at the end, and hopefully keep it up. Florida football recruiting had a good weekend.
Wow,
I
they
think,
did have after everybody was losing their mind over the quarterback flipping to Ole Miss. Then all of a sudden they went boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, 4- and 5-star kids. Yep. Yeah. So we got a buzz there. Ricky Neuhauser was even talking about it
I
on
heard
the
him.
radio today.
Yeah.
But he said, got to be careful now. 2 or 3 weeks, they may change their mind. So don't celebrate too much till they're on board and they've signed and they're out there practicing. That's when we're going to celebrate.
That's why I have a hard time getting too into
I agree.
recruiting.
I agree.
I mean, you have to do the recruiting when you're a coach,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to keep after him.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just say, "Well, he's committed, so he's coming." You have to say, keep calling him and keep calling him, and then maybe he wants to change his NIL deal now.
Well, that's the thing. Like Ricky Neuhauser said, he may get $1 million more from somebody else. Sorry, Coach, but this guy's offered way more than you guys have. I got to go. So you just never know.
It's hard. It's hard to be a coach in a sport these days. But I do want to talk some golf with you because I know you're into that. Wasn't the greatest final round of the U.S. Open, but I was happy for Wyndham Clark. I really was. I mean, lost his mom, to cancer, and I just was happy for him. The guy showed all this emotion we never see from players, but most players haven't lost their moms and recently, so it was, that part of it was cool. The course, I don't know. What do you think of the course?
The course was different. Yeah, it was could be tough at times. Played real easy the first day.
Yeah,
everybody
unbelievably,
260
and everybody freaked
so
out.
Forth. Yeah, and but I don't know. It was a good tough golf course, but like somebody said afterwards, he said nowadays if you can't hit it far and high, you can't play these golf courses.
Right.
Because you got to drop it in. You can't hit 3 irons in and expect to, check it up or run it in there.
Yeah, hit those knockdowns.
Hit it far, hit it high, and of course short game putting and so forth. But yeah, I sort of picked Wyndham to win it after the round on Saturday, simply because of his up and downs and his putting. He's pretty good, 6, 8, 10 feet and so forth.
Very good.
Those guys that make those all day. Well, Ricky Fowler, he was at one time. He was 18 of 18 inside 15 feet. They announced. I said, well, gosh, no wonder he was leading. But that didn't hold up the last 2 days. Yeah,
I felt bad for him.
I did too. I was rooting for him to win, but I just thought the other guy would win it.
Yeah, I was rooting for him, and I was rooting for McIlroy, but
he's gone 8, almost 9 years without a major.
know.
I can still remember. Was it in 14? He won in was it Congressional?
Yeah.
Outside of Washington D.C. He ran off and left him. Won by 7 or 8 shots, didn't he?
He did. It actually ruined my whole day of watching golf because
all over, yeah.
It was boring.
Oh, man. And they said this kid, he's got a chance to break Tigers and Nicklaus and all their records, and that was his fourth, fifth, or sixth.
He's got 5. I think.
He's got 5, yeah. And
that's a lot. I mean, people,
they're
so used to the Nicklaus 18, Tiger 14, so when you go, 5, that's nothing. But winning 5 majors, I mean, think about all the great golfers that never could do that.
Yeah.
Also winning this weekend on the Corn Ferry Tour, Ricky Castillo.
Ricky won?
Yeah,
Okay.
he won in the playoffs. So I think we're now entering an era where Billy Horschel's not going to be the only guy out there for us.
For the Gators?
For the Gators, There's going to be Ricky. There's going to be Fred Biondi. There's going to be some guys coming up.
I don't know where Billy's ranked right now, but he did make the cut.
He did.
At the Open.
He did.
And I saw him every now and then. They saw him. Oh, he chipped in from way off.
He did.
They showed that.
I've got a great Billy Horschel story later on,
but Justin Thomas, here's a guy that has won 2 or 3 majors and goes out there and shoots 81.
81, and then he's tweeting after the round
Tweeting
about how he was thinking about doing a podcast, and I'm like, what? You need to worry about your golf game.
But one of the guys played a practice round with Justin, like on a Monday or Tuesday, and he said if he was keeping score, it could have been 61 or 62, easy. That's how well he hit it, which practice rounds and real rounds, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would hate to play too well in the practice round.
I was going to ask you about that because I thought about this during the tournament. Everybody thinks these guys have the greatest life, and they do. They have a great life. They make a ton of money, and we all know what's going on with Liv and everything. But the bottom line is, you show up at a site, you hit a lot of practice shots, then you go out and play, then you hit more practice balls, then you've got to play 4 straight rounds on the same course. Have you ever played in your life 4 straight rounds, 4 days on the same course in your life?
Played 3 rounds.
3.
Yeah,
I've never played. I don't think I've ever played 3.
Yeah.
But it's hard because you play the hole and you go, let's say you play 13, you go, got through that. Now you're going to come back and play it again. I mean, it's such a demanding game. I don't think people realize how tough it is.
Well, I never looked at it that way. The Lake Tahoe tournament is 3 rounds, but they put the pins in different places.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you still got a lot of free times. We didn't hit balls for 2 or 3 hours before and after we played. like the pros do. So it was.
Well, you're like me. You don't believe in and hitting a lot of balls in the range because you just don't want to waste them.
Not too much.
Yeah, you don't want to waste them. Good shots.
Well, I don't practice a lot. In fact, my back doesn't allow me to practice putting too much. I just, lean over and time out, stand up a while. But anyway, golf is a fun sport, and I don't play near as much or as well as I used to, but I'm still attempting to play.
Yeah. That's right where I am. I play a lot, but I don't play 18 a lot.
Yeah.
9,
the guys
6.
I play with like to play 9, so if I have a good 9 going, I might just go play by myself the back 9 or something.
This is what happens when you get old, right? From the two of us.
Well, yeah.
But I did want to talk to you about the low expectations for Florida football nationally. Like it was great. I heard the same show you did coming in, where Neuheisel and Chris Childers were both praising Florida for the recruiting they've done and all this stuff, and all of a sudden and then praising Scott Strickland for. Everybody says, well, they're not, but they won the golf national championship, track national championship, have a chance to win baseball national championship. So maybe things are starting to shift back.
We're doing well, except football and basketball.
Yeah.
All the other sports are right up there competing. Gymnastics, second. Women's volleyball won the SEC again. So, but Tennessee still won the all-sports trophy somehow.
Well, they were really good in football, basketball, women's basketball. So they got those big 3. And again, their baseball team ended up in the College World Series, still playing.
They're still playing.
I think they went to the Final 4 in women's basketball, and I mean they've got
LSU. I heard them talking today that Childers, Ricky Neuheisel's sidekick there, he picked LSU to win the national championship in football. And that's unusual, although they're usually picked in the top 10, but it's usually always Alabama, Ohio State,
Georgia,
maybe Oklahoma and Georgia.
Yep.
Yeah. So we got some new blood.
Here's the thing: when people think LSU is going to be good, they never are. Now those are under different coaches, but I'll be curious to see. Like Jaden Daniels is, to me, if he has a big year, they could win the national title. Florida's got to go there next year, but
our schedule is difficult.
Not
only this year, but next year, the 24, when we play FSU, Miami, and Central Florida, and I think UCF will be in the Big 12 in 2 years from now.
So they're playing 11 Power 5s.
11 Power 5s. I think Georgia plays 8. Counting Georgia Tech. They play Georgia Tech. They play 1. They play 1 outside of the 8 in the conference. So anyway, that has a lot to do with your record, who you play schedule-wise, no question about it. And anyway, but LSU, they've done well in all sports. Got to give that AD credit. They got him out of Texas A&M.
Scott Woodard,
and
he's doing a great job.
He's hired winners. You got Kim Mulkey from Baylor, got Kelly from Notre Dame. So he's hired men and women with a proven track record. And now they're at LSU, which is one of the best universities in America because they're the only Power 5 university in the state of Louisiana. And they got boosters, alumni all over the place. And they have a little more advantage recruiting-wise simply because they're the only one in the state.
Yep, absolutely. I think you're totally right, and they always do really good in recruiting. Even when Mike Archer was here, they had good recruits. They couldn't win any games. Couldn't win enough games.
All coaches don't win at LSU, but good coaches at LSU, they do very well.
They do very well. All right, before we let you go, we need to do our Campus USA Play of the Weekend. I had a lot to choose from. There was a lot of good things that happened, but this was the Play of the Weekend. And mainly because, not just because of the theatrics of it, but because of what it meant. This came from Friday night. So here we go. Wyatt Langford in the play, 1-run game, and he hits it so far, he starts celebrating as soon as the ball leaves his bat. It went 460 feet, the longest home run in the history of that stadium for the College World Series. And somebody asked me if that was the longest home run I'd ever seen at the College World Series. And I go, well, Laporta hit one in Rosenblatt, in the old Rosenblatt. And that's close. But to see that was just amazing.
Well, is there a lot more home runs now? It got to be, aren't they? Than
Guys,
20 years ago and stuff.
Well, not than 20 years ago, but 20 years ago, people were all roided up and the bats were on nuclear. So there were, I mean, like one guy hit 40, Brandon Larson. Never made it in the major leagues because he was roided up.
Yeah.
But now I think these guys have created this bat speed, and they're all that they know the best way to go to the major leagues is to hit home runs. It's not to hit singles. Just hit as many as you can.
Yeah. But that ball, I mean, it just flies out sometimes. I remember the leadoff batter for South Carolina that popped one out. It was, oh, man, gone. And, of course, our guys do the same thing. I don't know if the ball has been livened up or what.
I think they just get bigger and stronger. I really do. I mean, again, that stadium hasn't changed its dimensions. I mean, it's just... They
keep talking about taking something out of the golf ball so guys can't hit it so far. But I don't know. I think they got to leave it alone right now.
You would leave it alone?
Yeah, I'd leave it alone. But the game does belong to the long hitters, no question about it.
But the bottom line is everybody's got the same ability to play the same ball, right? It's not like it's not like some of you guys that don't hit it far can't hit. You're all hitting the same ball if you want to. You can all hit Titleist. You can all hit top slide or whatever, you know.
Yeah, everybody gets their choice in golf. That's what's interesting. Choice of clubs and balls, and away you go.
All right, Coach. Always great having you. We love having you in here, and hopefully, do you have a good Father's Day?
Wonderful Father's Day, as usual. Pretty much stayed home, watched baseball.
That's what I told my wife. She always says, what do you want to do on Father's Day? Be left alone. Yeah. So I can just watch all these great things that are going on. But we had a great time. So what'd you get for Father's Day?
Oh, the usual.
Did you get that shirt?
Got a few. No, I've had this shirt. I figured I'd wear it today, but usual from the kids and so forth. Just the usual.
Yeah. Well, hey, we don't make as big a deal of it as the mothers do, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Try not to. Yeah.
All right, Coach. Great having you again. Brought to you by Meldon Law, and we appreciate his time here. We'll be back with more, including Robbie Andrew on Yes, No, Where Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. We'll be back with more on another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Meldon Law and Titan MRI. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer to Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. to Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from our Meldon Law Gator Studios. And coming to you on the Big Mills Cheesesteaks Zoom line, the great Robbie Andrew. We had to, he was on vacation last week, so we pulled Jeff Cardozo in to take his place, and he was a taller, skinnier, less attractive version of you.
And a lot of red hair, too.
That's right. So how was the beach? Good?
It was good, Pat. The only problem was the wind was coming out of the west, so the waves weren't very good. It was like a wake.
There Thursday and Friday, so we'll see how it's
No,
supposed to rain.
Yeah, the water was great, though, Pat. It was very refreshing.
Very refreshing. That's good to hear. All right, let's play yes or no way or maybe with the great Robbie Andrew. And number one, Robbie, you have more gray hair now after watching Gator baseball this weekend.
It's hard to get more than I've already got, Pat. So, yeah, maybe. Especially that game the other night when Sully made the mound visit he shouldn't have made, and it was like, uh-oh, here we go. And it just looked like they were going to throw that game away.
All I could think is, this is his fourth and dumb.
Yeah.
You know,
but Pat, between golf and baseball, it's been exhausting watching the Gators, but it's been fun.
Totally. And that game, it was so weird on Sunday night. The game's over. Karen and I are pretty happy, obviously. We were both into it. And then, like, I wanted to keep talking about the game. And Karen's like, I'm ready to go to bed. She goes, get out of here. Go into your office. I go, no, let's talk about the game. And then she's like, you need to shut your adrenaline down, man. I go, well, I sit there and watch an entire game and never say a word. Yeah. Because that's the way I watch them. And you watched a million games with me in the press box. Yeah. I'm just not a talker during the game. I want to watch it and absorb it. Now I got to release it all, you know.
Yeah. She had 2 words for you, though, after that.
She did. She did have 2 words for me. And I took them to heart. But that was an unbelievable game on Sunday.
It really was. But, yeah, I do have more gray hair, Pat. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. By the way, how was your Father's Day?
It was good. How about yours, Pat?
Yeah, it was great. Great.
Golf,
we went
baseball.
To the swamp. Golf, baseball, Snoopy, the King.
Cindy Molly.
Ron
Kaspersky.
It was great. I'm telling you.
We did Outback takeout.
Oh, I love Outback takeout. Yeah.
That was good.
All right, number 2, Paul Azinger is terrible on TV.
Pat, I've seen a lot of the criticism, but I've always kind of liked Zinger, you know, even though he made a few mistakes the other day. But I've always liked the guy. I like his personality, so I don't think he's terrible. So I must say no way on that.
You're so wrong.
No, but I'm not. I don't sit here and analyze golf color commentators like people do.
Well, or you could do what I do, which is turn off the sound on Gator baseball games because I don't want to listen to what they're saying, or Gator football games. Yeah. But I don't know. I thought Zinger said some really cool things, interesting things, but then he would say something. You go, well, duh, or you would say, no, that's not what's going to happen. I don't know. I think I miss Johnny Miller.
Yeah, I do too. But you got to look at it this way. There was a lot of time to fill there on Sunday because there wasn't a whole lot happening. You know, the course was so tough that nothing was going on. There weren't any train wrecks or anything like that.
Right. That's what we want is train wrecks.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because I like the guy.
Okay. And you like a Knoll is what you're saying.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right. You're on the record saying you're pro FSU is what you're saying.
No, I like Paul Azinger.
Okay, well, I'm just saying you're pro Knoll. Number 3, Florida got a recruit this weekend from Portal, Georgia. The next recruit
he was in the portal, Pat.
The next recruit they get is going to be from NIL, Virginia.
Maybe. The way things are going. When I first saw it, I think, they got some guy out of the portal again.
That's what I thought, yeah. Because, I mean, you and I don't follow recruiting that close, but
no.
we were like, portal.
Yeah, but somebody said he came from Portal. I'm thinking he came from the portal.
That's what I
So,
thought. But it was a
so
good
maybe
weekend.
NIL North Carolina could be.
Yeah, it was a good weekend for Billy Napier after obviously the quarterback situation, and of course everybody overreacted to that. And like I've
Of
cautioned
course.
them, don't overreact to the guys that are committed now. All these guys that keep saying I'm coming home, I don't care where at school they're talking about. No,
Yeah.
I'm starting my career is what you should
Yeah.
say. I'm starting at this place. Where I
Yeah.
end up, we have no idea.
Yeah. And not to throw water on this thing, but December's a long way from now, Pat, between now and signing day. So enjoy it while the commits come in, but you got a long way to go.
But I
Gotta
do give
finish.
Billy credit. Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, he did
And
a
that
heck of a
staff.
job.
Yeah, and there's more to come, apparently. So we'll see.
Yep. All right. We'll let you go, Robbie Andrews.
Okay, Pat, enjoy the beach.
Okay, I will. Thanks.
Okay.
Robbie Andrew joining us here on Yes, Nowhere, maybe brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteak, street dining done the right way. Go in there anytime and order something and free fries if you mention another duly noted podcast. How good a deal is that? That may be where I go today. I haven't had lunch yet, so I may have to go there and get one of those great sausage dogs. All right, it is time for us to do Adam's Ribco to go, Gator of the weekend, and yeah, I could have done a lot of baseball players. I could have done Cade Fisher. I could have done Wyatt Langford. I could have done. I could have done Waldrop. Waldrop was unbelievable. But you know, I went with a golfer, Ricky Castillo, and that is the way you pronounce it. Apparently, Ricky Castillo playing in his first professional tournament in the Korn Ferry tournament, shoots unbelievable scores, ends up getting into a playoff and wins it. He is now, just from that one event, is in 24th on the Korn Ferry Tour, the top 30 getting on the tour. So if he can keep playing like this, obviously he's going to make the tour. He did talk about, I don't know how many of you have wondered about this, the puka necklace that he wears. I did not know the story of the puka shell necklace. It has to do with his grandmother who was a big inspiration for him. But it's just great to see these guys who we loved so much during the NCAA tournament now going on and doing good things. Biondi made the cut. As I mentioned to Coach Spurrier, it's kind of cool that we're finally getting to a point where there are going to be Gators out there on the tour. Right now it's Horschel. I mean, Tyson Alexander's out there, but he's not in every tournament. I don't think Matt Every's playing anymore. I think he's doing Golf Channel stuff. Not much out there for the Gators. So hopefully that does change with this great team that won the national title. So he is our Adams Ribco to go Gator of the weekend. When I'm doing all these commercials, I'm always going, maybe I'll go there to eat. Maybe I'll go there to eat. But there's a lot of options here. Let's get to our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. And a lot of you picked two SEC teams to get in to survive the weekend, but three did. LSU, Tennessee, and Florida all survived the weekend, which the weekend ended Monday. That was the definition I put on it. But still, a lot of you did get three right. So I tell you what we'll do. How about if we pull a winner next Thursday for Friday's publication? I think that's what we'll do. We'll pull one then. I've got a lot of Leonardo's gift certificates to give away anyway. And maybe a Bob Dooley invitational hat, which, by the way, I need to show this picture of our last winner who sent us this picture after he got his Bob Dooley invitational hat. And there it is right there. That's a pretty good, he lives in, I think it's Michigan, right? So he's got his Leonardo's and his Bob Dooley invitational hat, wearing his Gator stuff with his Gator basketball. This is how we affect people. They send us pictures. So maybe we should make that a requirement. The next person that wins, you need to send us a picture of you with your Leonardo's and Millhopper gift certificate and your Bob Dooley invitational hat. At some point, I'll go back to giving books away, but we're just trying to give people a lot of things. We believe in that. All right, it is time for Hesser and Kipke's Three Things. Our good friends at Hesser and Kipke, we love them so much. a lot of texting back and forth between Ken and I this weekend. And again, it was the craziest weekend. I don't know that I've ever been through a weekend like that. From what started on Friday and ended up being on, today or tomorrow. But certainly that was a pretty incredible weekend. And as you know, Hesser and Kipke is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the areas of workers' compensation and family law. Ken and Jennifer take great pride in their one-to-one focus on each and every client they represent. Ken is board certified in workers' compensation law by the Florida Bar, while Jennifer possesses extensive jury trial experience and a nearly 20-year background as a prosecutor. If you don't believe me, they're almost at 60 five-star Google reviews, but you can check out their website at hklawfl.com, or better yet, give them a call at 352-339-9920, Hesser and Kipke. And we love them. Let's start with number one, which was, this was a cool thing, and we do get away from why people are in college. They're in there to get an education. They're in there to get a degree. It's not just playing sports. The NCAA likes to remind us of it all the time. Nobody takes it seriously when they do, but when I do, you do take it seriously. The coolest thing I saw this weekend was Stanford conducting a ceremony, because they're at the College World Series, where they walk down these steps, and the players that weren't graduating were all applauding them and high-fiving them, and it was the coolest thing. I was like, that's what it is all about still. It's about these guys who got their degrees. They could be there to walk, so they walked in a mall or a hotel, wherever they were, and they still made it a big deal. Very cool, Stanford. I give you credit for that. Second on it, Hesser and Kipke's three things. When Brad Beal went to the NBA, I go, man, I've told this story before, that there were points in the regional out in Phoenix when he hit jump shots, and I went, cha-ching, cha-ching, because you knew he was going to be a one-and-doner at that point. He wasn't a one-and-doner, really, to me, in the middle of the year, but he became one. And did really well, but he got stuck with the Wizards. Now he's not. And again, this hasn't gone through, but by the time you see this, it may have gone through to the Suns. And my first reaction was, man, finally he'll play on a good team. Maybe he can, Bradley Beal's a really good player. And then I went, now he's going to play with Kevin Durant, so nobody's going to give him the ball. And Chris Paul got traded to the Wizards, and they're just going to trade him again. They don't want him, really. And I hope Brad Beal finds a good spot. I hope maybe the guys he's playing with it'll become like you don't create super teams anymore. That ship has sailed. Whenever you try to do it, it doesn't work. But I'm just happy Brad Beal's getting to go somewhere where maybe he's over 500 every once in a while. But good for him, and he'll do well. And finally, number three on Hesser and Kipke's three things. The story of the weekend to me, the negative story of the weekend, was Charlie Culberson, who has been a Braves player for a while. He hadn't played much lately. He's not that good, to be honest with you. But for some reason, they picked his dad to throw out the first pitch for Father's Day. And I'm like, well, that's a great moment. And then right before the game, they designated him for assignment, which means you're basically cut, sent down. You're done. So they had to tell his dad, you're not throwing out the first pitch because your son just got cut. And I think Michael Harris ended up throwing out the first pitch, which certainly did not have quite the same impact. But I understand why the Braves did it. They had a catcher get hurt on Saturday. They had to call up a catcher. That meant somebody had to go down. I get it. But you might have handled it a little better than you did. I'm a Braves guy. Feel bad for Charlie Culberson. All right, that is our Hesser and Kipke three things. Let's get to the Ben Eige Odell Realty games of the week, and we've got a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, Wednesday, you may have already, as you're listening to this, the game may have been played. Wednesday, 2 o'clock, Florida plays somebody. We don't know who yet. That game is going on right now. And then Wake Forest will play the 7 o'clock game against somebody. No, wait, does Wake play Tennessee? I think they play Tennessee. Anyway, that is the Wednesday schedule. And then there could be games Thursday, or there may be no games Thursday. You don't know. And then obviously Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be the finals, so we'll see what happens there. And again, those games will all be 7 o'clock starts, I'm pretty sure, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That'll be interesting if we're over in St. Augustine Friday night watching the Gators play in the College World Series final. I like to watch the games with the sound turned off, but I may have to leave it up for that because Karen's going to be there. All right, NBA, the NBA draft is Thursday, 8 o'clock. It's on ABC, ESPN, ESPN 9, ESPN Ocho. It's on every channel they have. Will I watch it? How about no? Okay, they're going to draft a guy that I know I've heard about and everything. It's not like I'm not aware of him. He'll be the first pick to San Antonio, but we'll see how he does. There's no real reason for me to watch it, but there may be for you. It may be a big deal for you. So I want to give you that. Saturday, and again, I'm giving you the whole weekend because we're not doing a show Friday. Saturday, Fox Sports, Houston at the Dodgers, Minnesota at Detroit. Both those are 7:15 games. 1:10, Chicago at St. Louis. FS1, New York at Philly is a 4:05 game. So those are the games. And I promised you all week or all summer to give you significant games from college football that are going to be coming up. And I'm really interested in week 3. Kansas State at Missouri, noon on the SEC Network. That's a game that I'm check marking because Missouri may not be very good, but if they can beat Kansas State, all of a sudden everything changes for them. So that is going to be a fascinating game. Again, it's going to be 11 o'clock there. Kansas State's on the same clock, so they shouldn't be a big deal, but that'll be a fascinating game. I find that to be a really good game. That is our Ben Eige Odell Realty games of the week and the weekend. And finally, we wrap it up with Pat Dooley's Storytime. This is a good one. For me, anyway, it was good. So Friday night, brought to you by East Lake Pediatrics, by the way. Friday night, I'm talking to my oldest daughter, Jennifer, who lives in Los Angeles, and I said, I can't believe the tournament is going on, the U.S. Open's going on right around the corner from you. She goes, well, I don't even know where that golf course is. I live 3 miles away. She Googled it. I live 3 miles away. I said, hey, let me tell you what, Billy Horschel, if he makes the cut, this would have been Thursday night. Billy Horschel makes a cut, he's 4 over. He ain't making the cut. If he makes a cut, I'll get you tickets. So I'm like, puffing out my chest, I'll get you tickets. So he shoots 67 on Friday and makes the cut. And then I get a text from my daughter, so what's happening with those tickets? I'm like, oh, God. So I text Billy Horschel. I say, hey, man, my daughter lives right around the corner from the course. But great playing today, and I know she was watching it. Made that up totally. She was watching it, but she wanted to go, but it was sold out. He goes, give me your email address. Send her the email address. Within a minute, 2 tickets come to her email address, and for Saturday, she goes, and when they get there, they're VIP seating, VIP free drinks, free food, and everything. Billy Horschel. You should be the Gator of the week after doing that for my daughter. But what a great guy. He's the best. I mean, he didn't... Look, I'm sure they get tickets given to him, and they probably... Like, if his family's not there, he probably throws them away or whatever. He doesn't worry about them. But he made the effort. That's all it's about. People making the effort. Jennifer had so much fun. Jennifer and Patrick, her husband, they had a blast. They sent me pictures. They were overwhelmed. Billy Horschel, you're the man. I love you, buddy. I love you, Jennifer. I love you, Patrick. I love everybody. I love Zach, who just produced this show. It's awesome, man. Love Robbie Andrew. Love Coach Spurrier. What a good show. Hopefully you guys had a good time. It was a good one to let you stew on for a while. We'll be back with a Wednesday show. Taking the rest of the week off, but we'll be back with a Wednesday show, and Zach will be here. So will Coach Spurrier, I think. So we'll do a show then. Until then, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back, and I am out of here.